streaming in a new way. So we're trying a different streaming platform to see how it works out, see what you guys think, and welcome. I'm extremely excited and nervous. One, about trying this, and two, because I'm going to be diving into the paid version, and I'm trying to choose whether that's going to be Melon or StreamYard. What exactly I'm I'm going to be choosing. But today we are talking about Warner Archives and the demise of Warner Archives. Hey there, Griff. Getting there. Not there yet. Hopefully getting there. But I'm glad to be here talking to you guys today. It always makes me feel better. Hey there, William. And what we're doing, just so you guys know, wow, Sculptor Cinematic. I love the fact that I can actually play around with this a bit. It's big news. So it was Heather Kubrick. It was wondered. It was kind of people were concerned about it, wondering how it was going to go. Just so you know, I kind of moved my camera over a bit because it's really sunny out, and I'm not used to doing a daytime stream. Thank you, Nethead man. I did those first. Well, it's been a kind of officially announced or leaked, and there's a couple ways that it's been done. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm checking it out, Alan. I know you always give me like you guys always give me like what you think of them. So let me know as I start doing this, what you guys think of the new setup. I'm not quite sure if this one's I'm going to use going through. This is the free version of it. I will be doing the live version, like the paid version of this, or the other one. So I'm choosing between StreamYards and Melon. And the reason for that is because I'm going to be starting something new on the channel. Hey there, Chris. Every once in a while. And it may start on the Patreon, but I may bleed it over a bit into here too. And that is we are going to do the Knights of Cult. And that's with a K. And what that means is I'm going to pick a specific topic. I'll let you guys know ahead of time. And when I do, that means some of you here will be randomly invited in to chat on the channel, on the screen, like a round table, right here as one of the Knights of Cult. And hopefully that's something you guys are going to dig, because how's it? Roddy Piper said it again. Just when you think you have all the answers, I change the questions. And fellow Canadian, Roddy Piper. So innovation is key, my friends. Innovation is key. But in a second, I'm going to look at the website. Well, thank you. Actually, this shirt's been on for a couple of days, Chris. I'm actually doing laundry today. But this is my favorite of my shirts when it comes to the ones. There's an Avengers one I really want, but it wasn't my size. Because I am more Marvel than DC. Though I do like them both. My better half's more DC than Marvel. She loves Vertigo. Not Black Label, Vertigo. All right, so let us talk about Hey there, Leroy. Well, sort of. They're not done. That's the thing. They're not done with physical media, and that's why this specific live chat is a Warner Archive live chat. As mentioned before, and I think it was Films at Home. So credit to Films at Home, because he mentioned that Archives is ending, but they can license back catalog titles. Now, that's a very cheery way to put onto it that specific titles are going to get noticed. So basically, what you're going to get, and I'm going to project into the future. I'm going to use my visible crystal ball here. And what we're going to say basically is that what's going to happen is they're going to keep their franchise stuff going. They're going to keep their new stuff going, all that type of stuff. I'm not sure. I haven't got Santa Sangria. I thought some people had it though, Andrew, but I'm not sure. But that would be a lie to tell you if I knew for sure. But they can license out stuff to other companies. Now, that being said, you're going to have stuff that's automatically going to definitely get licensed out. you're gonna have certain horror titles. You're gonna have certain like titles that are specific to certain that are gonna ring for certain companies. That being said, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna get lost in the cracks there. A lot of stuff. So if you're worried about like Lord of the Rings or one of the Warner Brothers stuff, Melon is a streaming service done alongside of Streamlabs. That is a web-based streaming service, much like StreamYard, and I'm giving them both a shot to see which one I like best, and eventually I'll pay for the one that I like. So what will happen then is that a Melon thing will be replaced by my logo. My If you've got my T-shirt, then you know what my logo is, and then I'll have be able to have up to 9 people come in here, and I'll be able to stream this on here and my Facebook as well. Although I don't use Facebook for anything except for my family and like some friends from high school, they'll know that I'm doing this. Uh, but here's the issue. There's a lot of stuff that people aren't going to buy. Every company isn't going to grab everything. So there's a lot of titles. A lot of the some I know Kino will probably grab some of the older stuff, but it's going to depend on one key component. And this is what was it mentioned, uh, is that the pricing structure. We have to look at the pricing structure of what Warner is going to put out there. Hey there, Mary. Welcome. It's been a while. And the pricing structure is going to be different than it would have been years ago. So they're going to have the option. They're going to be a battle of the ball. They got a lot of titles out there that a lot of people are going to like. I can see Kino looking towards some of those prime, um, really prime like noirs and stuff like that. Because Kino, they got their noir thing going on and they got their classic stuff going on. So there, you're going to see companies like maybe Arrow or maybe even like Vinegar Syndrome, maybe, and Scream Factory, looking at some of those Warner horror titles, some certain ones. But hey there, John. Certain things are not going to make the cut. Hey there, Joe. I just saw your message there actually just before I went live, so thank you so much. I have not been feeling well. I'm still not feeling the best, but this is kind of important. So I figured we had to talk about it. So a lot of stuff's going to get lost in the shuffle because not everything's going to fit in that little box that fits that particular boutique label. Some stuff is not going to fit into a boutique label. One thing I'm concerned about, and you have to be concerned about another thing too, is that I think they'll. It's too early to say, Leroy, like how long that they'll go with it because we know that Films at Home did a video about 4 hours ago. He actually talked about the fact he mentioned in the video that Warner Archives themselves were shutting down. That, but not to be concerned because the new titles coming forward would be okay. The franchises would be okay, and they could like opt out to sell certain things to other other companies. Now that does mean that I guess once they choose their end date for that, which going by Jerry Beck, who's a respected animation consultant for Warner. I'd say is around 2022 is what we're looking at. We're probably not going to see like a lot of titles coming after that unless they're licensed by other labels. But that's a lot to put onto other labels and to decide things that may not be always the most either thought of as lucrative or may be considered a little bit too problematic. Titles may kind of fall like under the radar. So, although I would love to see Michael Crichton's Looker get a brand new release, um, I don't know. Tarzan titles, for instance, only the maybe Johnny Weissmuller or something like that. Maybe that'll get a but the Lex Barker, their Ron Eli Tarzan stuff like that, that could go. Um, we'll get a lot of the Prime animation come out with the Scooby Doo's. They're not. That's not going anywhere. The Jetsons, that type of stuff. However, the stuff that kind of like is going under the radars, the Warner Brothers superstars, or maybe some of um, the Hanna Barbera stuff, and kind of just flying under the radar. Roaring Twenties is something that I worry a bit about, like Leroy, because that's unless Kino picks it up, like that's prime for Kino, right? Uh, I'll honestly say to you right now, I can't see anybody else picking it up, and if Kino decides not to pick it up, then then uh, then it's then they're screwed because that's nobody else is going to grab that title. I did see Falcon Winter Soldier. I really really liked it. I actually thought it was fantastic. Yeah, HBO Max, the streaming service, is going to be their focus going forward. Now, here's the thing, though: they're going to put on the most popular things. They're going to put filler in between. Um, I don't see Roaring Twenties, fantastic film. I could see that maybe going on to the streaming service. There are going to be certain things that are going to keep ham-fisted onto the streaming service. Laugh at Olympics is a good example of something that could fall under the radar of Northern Lights. Um, I love Laugh Olympics, by the way. So Laugh Olympics, Yogi Space Race, that type of stuff. Fuck HBO Max. Oh, that comment is not getting in. But they hired a guy to run the division that is primarily a streaming guy. Yeah, I think so. And that's the key thing to think about. That's the hard thing that we got to think about right now. So I've started with Shout Select as well, and it's going to be certain ones. And that's the thing. In Shout Select, you've got to remember, Leroy, and you should know that of all people, you will know this. Shout Select has lost titles already. Uh, I know you got the Bruce Lee titles. I actually got a couple of the Bruce Lee titles, but Shout Select, they're they've already lost the Bruce Lee titles because the Criterion one, put out the Bruce Lee stuff. But if they're going to be tight with a lot of their streaming stuff, it's there's going to be certain titles that they're going to want to keep for their streaming service. Now, random titles and certain things they're going to want they'll outsource them. It's a source of revenue. It's income. Um, and so those will be fairly safe, but facing safe for streaming. Now, as things change and as like society changes, we've noticed that there's been times that films have become, like for one reason or another, more problematic or considered problematic. So one thing a streaming service can do is they can edit or take things out of there. They can put a disclaimer and just do that. And often they do that, but they can also edit things out of a film that they think maybe shouldn't be in the film. The only true way for you to know that you're going to 100% all the time have the exact movie that you want is to own that movie. They can't, well, at least not yet, come to your house and take your disc and edit the physical disc that you own. However, on a streaming service, that can. There will be no VSA slips, just the legacy slips. I don't have Shutter right now. I'm actually going to get it again soon though, because I want to watch Creepshow season 2. Though I was very disappointed with Creepshow Holiday Special. So we're going to look in a second at Warner Archives. I brought up the page on I brought up the page on what I'm looking for. I brought up the page from Amazon.com, which is right now the official Warner Archives store, to look at some of the stuff. We can look at a little bit of it together. We can decide here together what we think may or may not be going out of print, and what things we think may be saved. Curse of Frankenstein is a Hammer release. I see that going towards streaming. Some people are going to tell you that are going to say, well, Scream Factory's put out a lot of Hammer stuff, and they have. That is true. But I don't know if they'll be paying for the price that Warner's probably going to want for that type of stuff. Because I think Warner's going to want some big bucks for for their releases. So without any further ado, let's look at the Warner Amazon website and let's look at stuff we think. Let's speculate. Let's go down the rabbit hole of speculation and try and figure out what it is that we should be looking to grab right now, and what it is we think is is fairly safe. That is shocking, Joel. I'm glad I'm not in those groups. So right here, you see the Warner Archive collection. For right now, we'll do it. Uh, let's see if I want to make this thing bigger. No, we'll leave it like as it is for right now. Um, I'll leave myself on the screen. You guys can see that pretty good, right? So maybe I should. Huh. Well, I don't know if I can change it on my on this one. But when if it gets too small, we'll just take me out of the equation. Not a hard thing to do. So you can see some titles right here. This is a Warner Archives collection. Like things like Thunder the Barbarian on Blu-ray. Yeah, that Josie and the Pussycats. That's definitely safe for now. Now, Green Dolphin Street is definitely a streaming service type of thing. Well, I don't think they will do a Wanda Vision season two. Actually, I figure more than likely it'll go right into the Doctor Strange film. PT 109 again. Then you get the stuff like you hope that they're going to stream on their service, like old classic shows like Spence. They're not classic shows. They're when I was growing up, like Spence for Hire and stuff like that. Little Women, I think, is fairly safe. We're looking at right here, Betty Davis. Now, I don't know about things like this, like Night Lepus from Beyond the Grave. Could a company pick these up? Yes, they definitely could. Will a company pick those up? I'm not so sure. Some of these musicals, the Mario Lanzon's, uh, some of the Glenn Ford musical stuff like that. If Kino doesn't pick them up, they're lost. They're streaming or they're nothing. That's where it's going to go with that. Same with westerns. Westerns are going to be a hit and miss when it comes to this. Hey there, Hammers. Welcome, man. So the best way to look at this is to look right into. Let's dive into their top sellers, for instance. Just to give you an idea of like what's probably more safe than something else, and how safe do I really think it is. So now you have to understand a lot of the top sellers right now could be because these are people that know that Warner Archives is going out, and we might be seeing less of these titles. Titles like Doctor X, which could get a Shout Factory or a release. Each Down I Die. I say that's going to go streaming. The Thin Man series, I really hope gets picked up by somebody. I would love to see Kino pick up the Thin Man series. I do ever think it's going to be a bit pricey. Titles like Quick Change with Bill Murray and things like The Great Crusoe or Damn Yankees, if they're not picked up by streaming, I really don't see them going any farther than this. Things like the Bermuda Depths, yeah, no. I don't. I really don't. Oh, Doctor X has a big TCM one, but the thing is, Joel, the one thing we got to look at right now is: do I think they'll have a closeout sale? I don't know. Probably not because they brought their store onto Amazon. Though I would keep an eye out, Yoshi, for seeing like titles randomly drop down in price. As a collector of not just films, but of comics, of omnibuses, one thing that I normally do is I randomly put things in my cart in Amazon, then I take them out. That way, I get alerted when the prices go down on those items. So, and I'll check when the pre-orders come up. So around 3 days ago, I was looking at the omnibus stuff, and a bunch of pre-orders dropped at the same time, and every one of them like dropped with extremely low prices. So I locked in like seven different omnibuses for the end of the year, and by the next day, when the prices were announced again, they were like some of them had gone from like $100 to 150, $160. Do I read every day? I do actually. I'm a voracious reader. I love books. So as you're looking through here, if you're looking through this with me, if you maybe you got it brought up on your own computer as well, are there any here that you guys are worried about seeing go out? Like Six by Sondheim, like again, not something. Helter Skelter, I don't know. I mean, like I really don't see that as a title. That like, drama is something I'm definitely concerned about. A lower tier animation, I'm very concerned about. Horror, I'm also slightly concerned about. So let's dive into the horror, because I know people say, well, they can be picked up by other companies, but here's the thing: not everything's going to get picked up by other companies. They can't do everything, and the price isn't going to be there. And sometimes the for instance, for Scream Factory to pick up the older horror titles, for instance, they would have to get a great deal, a great package deal, and the other thing to think about is that although Warner Archives does not always have like the most features, like that's an understatement, on some of their releases, often there's like commentaries on a lot of the releases. Now, or like archival featurettes. Now, anybody that remembers what happened with Scream Factory and Life Force will know that featurettes can go out of you can lose the rights to those as well. Featurettes, commentaries, things can happen, things can change. They may not carry over into a deal. So, for instance, there may be if you got the DVD of what's it called? Oh, with Kim Darby, the one with the little creatures. Alone in the Dark? Is that it? We'll say that. I think it's wrong. We'll say that anyway. You got of the Kim Darby horror film, and you got the Blu-ray of it. You're going to notice that there's different features. There's like actually different commentaries. I think the commentaries dropped from the Blu-ray, or it has a different commentary. John Travolta's Michael, very much. I mean, like that. Alan, for me, that seems like a streaming one. It doesn't seem like something that's going to be necessarily picked up. I love Joe Bob Briggs' commentaries. Actually, I think he does a really good commentary. So that's the stuff that you have to look at. I can. Well, could Demon Seed be picked up? Yes. Do I think the Beast with Five Fingers or the Story of Mankind are going to get picked up, or Cyclops? Maybe not. The Jerry Lewis ones, I can see going as as streaming. I cannot see them going as like unless somebody says they're going to put a big Jerry Lewis. Don't be afraid, Derek. That's what I was talking about, guys. Then I'm not sure. Things like The Awakening, Killer Party, I think is prime for somebody to pick up if the price is right. But things like The Awakening and The Swarm, maybe not so much. Cleopatra Jones and Casino Gold, I pretty much guarantee that's going to be nothing but streaming. And then we get into this. If you got the indicator set, congratulations, because I don't think the Face Fu Manchu is going to make it past this juncture. This you get things like TV movies, unless they're picked up by Vinegar Syndrome right now. This is the TV movie Bad Seed. Awakening's picked up by Scream Factory. You're right, Uncle Fister. Then I don't see this being picked up by anybody else. I don't know if it exists. I know he really didn't like he was really disturbed by it. Amazing Captain Nemo. This would have to be a Kino release. I don't see this going to Shed Select. Don't see this going to Scream, unless Indicator picks up. And Indicator has been so far dealing mostly with Paramount and Columbia. Then if you like this type of titles, Crescendo, of course, is Hammer. This has already been something. I think, has this been picked up by anybody yet? I'm trying to remember if Crescendo's the one that got my indicator set or not. Because Stephanie Powers thinks she did 2 Hammer films. Things like The Wild Wild Planet, that would have to be Kino. They got a Hitcher here? The Hitcher's on. Are you serious? This is a DVD of the Hitcher. I didn't even know there was a DVD. This is a HBO release. Okay. I did not think there was any version of it, but all right. Hey there, Matt. Welcome, Matt. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think we're going to lose a lot here? Because I think we're going to lose a lot here. I think there's a lot that people aren't thinking about. People just assume that things are, oh, it's okay. Things will get picked up. And yes, some things will get picked up. But will the Warner Brothers horror mystery feature be picked up? Will the Andy Griffith like TV films where he played the sheriff get picked up? My Demon Lover. I could see like Scream maybe grabbing that or Shout. Hey, they're saying, welcome, man. Because you got, well, yes, it has to be speculations. Hey there, Dustin. Because Sculder, of course you're going to lose stuff. It's inevitable. When you go from one format to another format, you lose stuff. We always lose stuff. Um, they're not they're not going to be streaming everything. That's obviously that's the thing. Two, if some stuff that they're streaming, they're going to want to lock in for streaming services, and they're not going to put out there to be bought by other companies. Three, companies, all these companies that we look at, the Vinegar Syndromes, most of them, like the Chef Factory is probably the biggest one, like the Arrows and stuff. They're all still smaller companies. They can't buy everything. Warner Brothers has a tremendous library of titles out there. Not everything can get picked up. Not everything will get picked up. And even things that you think it's an automatic pickup. My Demon Lover, right? It seems like a perfect pickup for Scream Factory. And it might be. But it might be 3 to 4 years down the road. So that's always like another thing. Thank you, Juggernaut, to look at when it comes to this. Is that would we lose anything? Yes, definitely, 100%, without a doubt, stuff will be lost. That's not a FOMO comment. That just basic logic is they won't stream everything, and not all companies are going to just automatically go and grab everything that's there. For a lot of people, they got to look at whether it's what the other companies are going to look at, how much these titles are going to sell, if they're going to have to do remasters, if special features are going to be needed to be made, what's the cost, what's the benefit cost analysis for all of that. So yeah, and that's a good question, Scott. It's a really good question. Why would we lose anything? Because money, because and interest. And that was a good comment there. Like look how much was lost from VHS that never made it over to DVD. And you had things that came out like on Laserdisc and different cuts of films that just never made it over, or features that were lost. And films can get lost. And my better half said, well, don't worry too much because they'll store them, and maybe down the road certain ones get bought by companies. And you also had to worry about the length of time it takes to buy something, and how those elements are going to be kept as well. So let's just say you want the Terminal Man. Let's go with the Terminal Man for but George Segal, and it goes out of print. So keep the Terminal Man and the elements, the film canisters, whatever. They're stored securely, and it doesn't go for 5 years, or doesn't go for 6 years, maybe. It's not something that's going, and there's more stuff coming in, and there's more films being brought in. There's how it's again, that's a far scenario, but you got to wonder like how things are going to be stored as well. That's another thing to be concerned about. Will everything make it? Like look at Abominable, which was put out by MVD Rewind. Movie was put out in the '90s, and the elements to that film were almost completely lost. Like he literally got in at the exact right time to to get them because that film's almost lost the time, and that was only in the '90s. The joint ventures for the next 10 years, uh, that's true. They're focusing, as they said before, on between them. Now you have to understand this as well. It's taken Warner and Universal to go together to do a joint venture, a 10-year venture together to put out these to put out physical media releases. They will be focusing on the newer stuff. They will be focusing on the franchise stuff. The to like think that we're not going to lose stuff, like to be bluntly honest with you, Scholar, it's a little naive. Um, they're not. They may re-release Batgirl or Batman: Mad Love, but Dana Andrews: The Frozen Dead or Brainstorm, definitely not something that's going to be high on the list of something that they're going to re-release or even put on a streaming service. So money wins. There's the thing. Money's the key focus here. And that's the sad fact. That's what it is. A consumerism, guys. Um, they're a company, and they have to look at what's going to be their best margin. And right now, that's streaming with a good representation of physical media. Like physical media is not going anywhere. Don't think physical media is going somewhere. However, if you're looking at some of these like titles that kind of get stuck in between the cracks of the companies that could eventually put them out, yeah, you could lose titles, and you could have titles that just don't get picked up, or you can have titles that don't get picked up for the next 4 or 5 years. Like I, if I was running a company like for this, yeah, for sure, I would be picking up stuff like, you got like the big name stuff. You got the Peter Sellers stuff. You got guys like that. Not even like how his stuff will get picked up. But when you see stuff like Snow Devils and stuff, you just gotta hope that like a smaller label picks it up, and you gotta hope that the smaller label has enough money to pick it up. So it's nice to to hope, but you got to be honest with yourself. And that does not mean you got to go out and grab everything or I got to get this, this, and this. But look at the key things that you don't want to lose. If there's a title here that you don't want to lose, that you would legitimately, and this doesn't just go for Warner, this goes for any company that you're looking at. If there's a title out there and you're like, you know what, if I don't get that, that's gonna really suck for me. I'm gonna feel really bad about it. You want that release. You, if at the end of the day you realize, I'll be okay, then not so much. I'm worried a lot about a lot of some of the TV stuff, the TV films, some of the release. I think like stuff like Frankenstein, prime for release. Um, I can see like a Scream or an Arrow picking that up for sure. A lot of the older titles, you're gonna hope like gets like a is getting us like Kino. Kino's your key for the older titles. So for like some of the film noirs, for some of the earlier stuff, you got to hope Kino has a good relationship with them going forward. Hey, Logan, welcome, man. Weird, Wisconsin. Yeah, that's gonna be the Bill Rebane side. You mean? Yeah. But as you see this stuff here, Like there's stuff that you can say, okay, yeah, definitely. Mystery of the Wax Museum, that's not going anywhere. Victor Buono in The Strangler, Dusty and Sweets McGee, probably not on any company's like to grab list. Yeah, exactly. There's the French releases for that Criterion had that are no longer in print, the ones that they got from Studio Canal. This has already happened. This isn't like something that has, and there's going to be things that they're going to ask more money for. Todd King's is a great film. I don't know if I've seen it, Vince, but I would check it out. I don't own it though. Like, I don't see, we obviously know The Hand's getting a release. I would love to see something like The Nightmare Room get like a good release. Now, here's where I'm kind of on the fence. Now, there's the Satanic Rites of Dracula and Dracula AD 72. Those are ones that have been like pretty exclusive to the archive releases so far. We haven't seen any other release come out from them. Now, that being said, maybe Indicator can do a deal for a bunch of titles and get those within there, and all of a sudden you got a Hammer release with those titles in there, or maybe Scream Factory would grab those just because they're Christopher Lee and they're not the good ones, but at 87.2 is okay. Satanic Rites is not the best, but they're kind of known titles. But will they want to, or will they want to like have a bit of like a horror section? Want to because HBO Max's horror section isn't the greatest. Will they want to just like beef up their horror section and just leave it for streaming? And I've seen people want to watch these Dracula films. Let's let's do it there. That's another thing, Alan, is that TV shows are obviously old TV shows specifically are extremely problematic in getting like entire releases to come out. I love to have the 4-pack Uncle Fister. That's a really cool looking 4-pack. That's the one with Wolfen on it, right? Hey there, Sardis. Welcome. We are talking about the sad demise of the Warner Archive label and what we think is going to go under, what we think is going to stay. It's getting what you want to get within your means. Like my better half is worried about the animation. I'm not so much worried about the animation as she is, but she is a huge animation fan, and so I can understand for especially some of the lesser stuff. Hammer, my cousin, is the biggest Night Court fan you're ever going to meet, and even he has had to go, and I think he got most of them on MOD, and the last one or two, I think he had to get. I'm not sure if they've all been released actually. The last ones that he got, though, I think he just had to get like a digital release. He couldn't even get a made-on-demand release for him. Like we're looking through here, and there's stuff like, and you also have to put into effect that Scream or some other company may get the rights to something. No, I see. There's certain thing, Ragman, is that well, Warner Archive as a label is gone. It's gone. Like everybody's been let go. Um, so what's going to happen now is they're going to focus. They've got a 10-year deal between Warner and Universal. It's going to be focusing on mostly newer titles, and it's going to be focusing on their higher prestige and franchise titles. Your Universal horror, for instance, that's not going anywhere. Your Lord of the Rings or that style of stuff, those will always be in circulation. So they're always going to be in print. They are going to source out other titles to other companies, so other companies will have the chance to bid on and pay for different licenses for different titles for specific periods of time. Now, unfortunately, everything won't be bought, and some things. Warner Brothers has not gone for good start. It's like don't like it's Warner Brothers Archive. Like Warner Brothers as a company will still be making physical media. They have a 10-year secure deal in with Universal. Um, from what we know so far, and what we've heard, is that around 2022, the Warner Archive line is going down. Hey there, Jacob. So it's the Warner Archive titles that we are most concerned about. Now they can repress a Warner Archive titles under the regular Warner label, etc., etc. But without Warner Archive, their whole made-on-demand thing is, it's pretty much it's gone. So unless like there's specifically a large demand for a certain release, or say for instance somebody suddenly remakes Innocent Blood, uh, then the title may just not be made for quite a period of time. Maybe to see it on a streaming service, or you have to hope that a company buys it and doesn't wait 3 years to put it out. Because in a lot of cases right now, a lot of the companies that are buying things, and they're planning. When Vinegar Syndrome, for instance, buys the rights to releases, then restoration has to be done, special features have to be done. Those things take a while, and depending on the way things are going, how the factories are doing the pressing, um, it can take, they can buy a release this year. You can buy Warner Brothers release this year. Like just say Vinegar Syndrome buys up like a bunch of, let's say they buy 20 titles from Warner Archives. They're going to release them. They're obviously not going to do them over the 1 year. They're probably going to do them over a few years, and they're going to like focus on certain ones. They're going to do restorations where needed. They're going to put special features in. So that thing as well, that takes time. So a title, for instance, let's say Frankenstein 1970. Well, we'll just take that one for example, because that seems like a Vinegar Syndrome type of thing, right? Or a Severin. Um, they may say, okay, we want to like focus on that. We're going to do like some special features, or we just want to do another print of it. So it gets put back. And if you don't have it and you want to watch it, then you're kind of at the mercy of whenever the company decides to put it out. You're being really problematic, Scholar. We've gone through all that. And what we know so far, and we can only go on what we know so far. Actually, the archive is. Uh, the archive is getting shut down. It's Warner as a company. It's not getting shut down. The physical media portion of it isn't shutting down. Warner Archive as a label is going. What happened initially was Jerry Beck made a tweet. It got people really concerned, and people got worried that, sorry, watch Film and Homes review video from about 4 hours ago. Um, and I did. That's why this video is being done. As he announced in the video. You get me frustrated, guys. Because I'm trying to help. And nobody's panicking, Scholar. We're just looking at the different things. Well, George, it's it's a mixed bag right now. Hopefully you're doing well. I liked your video, by the way. It was really excellent. Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate that. But we're getting some mixed messages in the messages here in the chat. So let's straighten things out right now. There is a video. It's around 9 or 10 minute video done by Films at Home. It was a pretty cool video. I acknowledged it at the beginning of this video right here, before we even started this. He announced that he talked about the Warner Universal merger. Well, whether they're working together, their 10-year deal to do a lot of physical media. They said that a lot of the big stuff, the anniversary stuff, they're going to be keeping that going. They got a commitment for the next 10 years, which may seem like a lot of time to you guys, but I'm 50. 10 years is not a long time for me. They're going to focus a lot on streaming, but they've got 10 years of physical media, and they're going to be doing towards like the big things. Obviously, Warner Archives is closing down. That was announced within Films at Home's video, which if you watched it, you'll hear that in the video. I had to watch it like 3 times to make sure I heard that right. Uh, so Warner Archives is going. Not quite sure when. We don't know. They are going to focus on sourcing out stuff, selling stuff out to other companies. So companies like Kino and Scream Factory and Arrow Video, uh, and all of those will have the chance to buy some of these Warner Archive releases that aren't going to make it either. Aren't going to make it to the streaming service just because they're not a good fit for the brand, or that they're not really going to focus on because they're not going to make enough money off of doing it. Warner Archives itself is more of a made on demand type of thing, and that's the key to that right there. Is Warner Archives is a made on demand, and it focuses on a lot of like older titles and French titles with some film noir and some different type of releases. So you will see stuff go onto the streaming service. I am on it early today, basically because I'm going out later on to do some groceries. I'm doing some laundry right now. Um, you will see different stuff that'll make it through. Will everything make it through? No, it's naive to suggest everything's going to make it through. It's the same as when a format changes or when a company restructures. Everything just doesn't make it. Warner Brothers has a lot of stuff. Warner Brothers Archive specifically has a lot of stuff. You don't there's no need to panic, but with all that being said, um, yeah, not every musical, not every western, not every horror film is going to be bought up by a company, and if it is, could be a few years. And if, for instance, Dirty Dingus McGee, which may be a fantastic title that a lot of people want, uh, is not wanted by by them aside from like streaming it, like having a Western section. You can probably watch it on the streaming service. But if Kino doesn't pick it up, or Indicator doesn't pick it up, or that's not a title that Arrow sees going forward, because also remember this too, Arrow just folded Arrow's like Academy. They folded that up and put it into Arrow Films. Right? So Arrow Video is Arrow Video now. There's no Arrow Academy anymore. The last Arrow Academy release was already done. It is a cool title, right? They're really cool, man. I'm really glad you like Blind Date. I love Blind Date. It's an excellent little Nico Mastorakis film. Watch the feature on it, by the way, the 4 parts. I've only got the first part of that. Yeah, it's the thing. Arrow has a streaming service now, but still, um, and yeah, you're right. Like that's been the case. Like I mentioned, some movies are always going to fall behind the cracks, either on purpose, by accident. So I'm not saying where some people are getting upset that we're talking about this or that we're speculating on this, but or getting outright hostile, which I don't appreciate actually, guys. I'm trying to help. I'm trying to be helpful here. The idea of this chat right now is for us to talk about it, how we feel about it, and where we think they're going to go. Well, I hope so, Kubrick. I really hope so. I don't have HBO. I got Crave, Sardis, because I live in Canada, which is the Canadian version of HBO Max. So I don't have HBO Max. So if somebody has HBO Max and knows what like what level of like of of titles of like second run titles, older titles, TCM, like I could see like if they can get some TCM stuff on here, like if TCM could hopefully pick up. Like some of the stuff shows on TCM, and I'm guessing TCM got like streaming rights or for some of these titles. And I never even thought about that. There's another thing to think about. Um, Like if a service has streaming rights for a title. No, no, Kubrick, you're being nice. I mean, um, oh, Arrow. Yeah, Arrow has like some not a lot of older titles. Come to think about it. A lot of their slasher stuff and like stuff like that. Thank you, George. But I had the Arrow service for like for about a month, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. But at the time, I didn't find there was enough on there, and I had a lot of Arrow titles already, so it wasn't really like something that I needed because I tend to buy Arrow titles. There's a TCM site. Thank you, Wes. I was actually curious about that. So there's a TCM section on HBO Max. Um, and as we go forward with streaming, another thing, and this is total speculation, by the way. So before anybody decides to get up in an uproar, um, there's if you buy the rights to the streaming, like say a company buys the rights to the streaming and they want that to be, you know, their streaming, then then maybe they don't want physical release. Maybe there's thing. Imagine that. Like so, if you want it just to be streaming, if there's deals that go out there where it's just streaming. Now that's complete like way down the road speculation. If a company like a big title, I never say that until like a smaller title, for instance. I don't know. I mean, like Matthew, right now it's really in the early like throes of it. Like we're just finding out news. Like obviously, I don't know anything that a lot of you guys don't already know if you research it. Um, but like everybody else that does this, you try to go on and do the best research that you can before it comes out. Warner Archives is their made-on-demand service, so that is concerning. Like, they do made on demand for like regular Warner titles? Uh, I don't know. Like, I'm not Warner, and nobody here knows at this point. That's the key part to it. That's the thing to really think about is where exactly uh, does it go from here? We're still like slowly finding stuff out. Like I expect, yeah, if this is gonna go under, if they're gonna cancel their MOD service, basically, oh, they're gonna sell. Now don't. Now here's the thing: physical media not going anywhere, not going anywhere, Ragman. They're still in physical media. There's a big, big deal done between Warner and Universal. So, but again, we know that that's for big releases. That any of the new stuff is going to be coming out on DVD, Blu-ray. Some of it's going to be coming out on 4K as well. Um, but for older releases, then it's going to be either streaming or it's going to be at the will of any company that that may want to buy it and how they want to release it. And the way that a lot of this stuff is done is that nobody. Hey there, Dagger. Welcome, man. Is that nobody picks up one title. Hey there, Josephine. Usually, when you're a company and you go in, you pick up like a few different titles. You pick up like 10 or 15 titles. You may only want one or two of those titles. You may, let's just say, for instance, you're Kino, and you want some film noir, right? You may really, really want Out of the Past. Fantastic film noir. You may say, wow, Out of the Past is a great idea to for our film noir sets, and it'll definitely sell a lot of film noirs. And they'll say, fantastic, you can have Out of the Past, but you got to take this release, and this release as well. So they'll say, you get Out of the Past, and we'll give you a couple other good ones. You get Grand Central Murder. We'll give you I Was a Communist for the FBI. They're like, well, I really don't want I Was a Communist for the FBI. And they'll be like, well, If you want Out of the Past, it's a package deal, and that's usually the way things like that work. It's very rare that they go in unless it's like it's a special title that they go in and they're just buying one title. It's just not feasible for a company to just go in and say, "Well, I just want Lightning Strikes Twice with Ruth Roman." Usually it's they'll pick a few titles, and they may not want to put out all those titles. They can, but they they don't have to. They can pick 10 titles, for instance, and put out 8 of those 10 titles. Um, there's no like thing that says they have to put them out. They buy the rights to them, and there's the rub again. Just because they buy the rights to 10 to 15 titles doesn't mean that all those 10 to 15 titles are going to be put out by that company within the time frame that they own those rights to those films, um, unless they're sure. No, no. Warner Brothers definitely is not, and I can't stress this enough, Dagar, is not done with physical media. Not at all. Not remotely. Not even in the slightest. Warner Brothers and Universal have done together for a 10-year deal to keep physical media going. They make a lot of money off physical media, but a large majority of that money that they're making off physical media is going to be like their newer animation stuff. It's going to be their newer releases. It's going to be specific like titles like the like Dracula's 90th anniversary is coming up, for instance, stuff like that. Like that's the stuff that'll be focused on. It's the Warner Archive label that is being closed down. New releases on 4K, depending on the release. I mean, like we don't get everything on 4K now, and I do love 4K, and it's a definitely one that a lot of you guys don't have got on it. Yeah, there's thing rights holders making transfers, all that stuff, and that's just like on a regular day. That's not when a label's folding under. Like Kubrick mentioned, that's a regular day. That happens with companies with titles. So I know people don't want to get on the negative, and I don't. And this is not meant to be a negative video. It didn't start out that way, um, but it's meant to be a realistic video. We're all collectors. This is what we do. This is what we love. And there are people out there that are saying, well, don't worry, everything's okay, and that's great. But as always, stuff will get lost. And that's not meant to be negative. That's not meant to get people to rush out and buy every release, or that's not meant to do a FOMO type thing. That's a bit of real talk. I'm letting the city down. And once in a while, it's okay to have some real talk. That's a good question. Actually, I don't know. Ted Turner did have like a. Remember when he used to like colorize all? Oh my God, colorize the version of Night Living Dead and stuff like that. Oh, that was so bad. So at the end of the day, we all should be on the same page when it comes to this. Yeah, there's the thing. The High Might took forever to come out. A lot of these releases take long to anybody that's ever bought from Synapse, which is a great company. There's amazing, amazing transfers and great releases. I strongly recommend you buy from Synapse Films. They are a small company that do a lot of good stuff. Turner's Libraries in Warner's hands now. Yeah. Oh, West. Yikes. But it takes a while for them to do a release. Years at times to get like a release done, and that's because when that release comes out, guys, they give you a pretty good definitive release. For look how long it took for Massacre at Central High to come out. There's still like Synapse releases that were announced before, or releases. Remember Vinegar Cinema? We're going to put out was it the Last House on Dead End Street, and it was like and it was what's the word? And it was a special feature, actually a secret special feature on corruption. We still have not seen to date Last House on Dead End Street like remastered with its own like release. Like so far, the only release we got of that is the iffy looking release on corruption. Still good to have. Definitely a reason to get to go and buy corruption. But the proposed like Glass House and Dead End Street release, there could be reasons too. There may be elements that they just haven't found yet. There may be they may have taken a backseat to other ones. Their rights can revert back, just like Dagger said. There could be other reasons behind it, but we still have not seen that release. And so there are certain titles that I would look towards. I would look towards the Tarzan titles as being something that might go. And yes, maybe Indicator do a Tarzan set down the road, or maybe a couple Tarzan sets. But I would assume, and I could be wrong, that they would focus on probably the primarily more popular titles. Uh, I wouldn't assume that maybe Gordon Scott or Lex Barker or some of the other like lesser known Tarzans may get picked up as quickly. Now, Gordon Scott's my dad's favorite Tarzan, albeit is mine as well. So things like Tarzan's, like Great Challenges and stuff like that, um, are things that we could see go in the or just like just be streamed. Oh, did you really listen to Archeo book? Oh, I got to get that book actually. Um, I love the old Archeo stuff, Josephine. So there we go. There's the there's where the conversation is at right now. Is that we do not know where this is going to go from here. This is all of this is speculation. The only things we know for sure right now is that there is a 10-year deal that is going to focus on newer releases and like some of their bigger releases, stuff that's having an anniversary, stuff that's more well known by the public. That we know that Warner Archive as a label is going to no longer exist. The people that were in Warner Archive, they've been let go. There's a video by Films at Home. He talks about it, and he actually it was the first time that I'd heard that the Warner Archive label was going under itself. But he, said he had people that that like knew about the whole Warner Archive thing, and that Warner Archive as a label is done. And yes, I forgot to say that. So now for that YouTubey type of thing, I'm Aaron. I'm still here. I'm not gone anywhere yet. But if you're, there are 43 people watching the video right now. So I would appreciate it if you, give all of us some happiness and hit that like button, because only 26 of you have hit it, and 2 of you jerks have hit the dislike button. You guys kind of suck. But you 27 people that just hit the like that have hit the like button so far, you guys rock. You guys are awesome. Love you guys. This is big news. Either way, even at this point, knowing what we know, this is big news. I'm not an insider. I don't have the scoop on these things. I can only react on what has been told to me and what's been put out into the public, and give you my thoughts on these things, and to get your thoughts on these things as well. So let's get your thoughts. Let's give me a second to drink, and let's hear what you guys think. What do you think is the future for these Warner Archive releases? The mole. That's it. Mm. Right? Did you? Oh, God, you're probably too young. But there used to be a TV show. It ran for like 2 seasons. I think it might have been on Fox. It was like this reality show. We had to find out who the mole was. It was like a Cheesy fun, actually. Who is the mole? Just restructuring the company. More than that, uh, it's a restructuring for sure. But this is a big restructuring. You do remember well, okay? Obscure titles will slowly disappear. I think that's a given. Uh, but it's not just the obscure titles, Cyrus, that I worry about. It's the in betweens. It's the titles that aren't obscure enough to be taken up by the niche boutique companies, but aren't big enough to be taken by the big, premier boutique companies. Licensing is definitely the end game here, but we had to understand with all these companies that are out there, all the stuff that's out there, for the titles that get released. So, a cinematic collector, the best thing that I can say to do, and the things to look at is look strongly at titles, look strongly at the boutique labels, and say, you know what, this fits in with this company here, or this fits in with this company, or this one doesn't quite fit in with here, or here, or here. Where exactly am I getting this title? You want them to be got by boutique labels and improved on with extra extras and all that type of stuff. So those are things to be more concerned about. This is not a doom and gloom video. I feel like this is coming off like a doom and gloom video, and that's why some people like were kind of iffy on it. They will definitely they're licensing, like they will be licensing titles out to other companies. It's just like not every company is going to grab everything. That's the key thing to take away from is that you got to look at what's safe and what's not. Look at what boutique labels are out there, what's going to be available on streaming services, what they're going to want to keep. Yeah, Michael, I've gotten some crap tonight, man. I got some crap. Uh, so, uh, what do you think? Like, I want you made a video kind of on this a few days ago. Michael did actually. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. I was actually there under one of my names because I got a couple. Michael found that out the other day. What do you think, man? So, did you see the Films at Home video where he announced that Warner Archives is a done deal, but physical media is still available? If you're a casual and you just love the new stuff that's coming out and you just want the big releases, yeah, cool. I haven't seen the Serial Midnight video yet. I got to check that out. I'm usually up to date on Heat stuff as well. I got to watch that. But there's a 10-year deal. Again, I'll mention this a dozen times. 10-year deal between Universal and Warner Brothers. That's going to focus on any new releases that are coming out. It's going to focus on some of the bigger stuff that they're going to look towards. The Universal monsters, that stuff not going anywhere. Some of the bigger releases, that are the franchises, obviously they're going to stay around. Nobody expects to like to say, oh well, I guess Lord of the Rings is gone. No, it's not. But other stuff, though, Michael, like I can pick like there is going to be it's going to be like it's going to be different. It's like I can see Kino grabbing some of these like film noir titles. Obscure. That's one place we do agree. Scholar, obscure titles are having their best times right now. They really are. Obscure titles are the ones that are key. Those 50 cent, $1 VHS titles, like if you're old enough to remember that type of stuff that was in your Kmart bin back in the day, those are the ones that are getting big additions. Right now. It's the in between stuff, Scholar, that concerns me. It's the Tarzans of the world that concerns me. It's the noirs that are good, but they're not good enough to maybe get a release. That concerns me. It's some of the musical titles that may not grab, like may get, and it has a thing too. Every company's got their brand. Every company has got their metrics. Oh, they have 100%. Like that's what they're doing. They're going to be licensed getting small titles. But hey, there, Richard. That's the thing. Like only every small title is not going to get released, and companies are going to pick the titles that they want. Companies usually pick titles by bunch. You don't usually get nobody goes in and buys the Fallen Sparrow, and that's just it. They usually buy the Fallen Sparrow and 15 or 20 other titles. Among those 15 or 20 other titles, there may be 8, 10, 12 titles that they can do something with. There may be 2 or 3 titles that they really don't want to do something with, and those titles that'll just linger until the license runs out, and they'll focus on the titles that they actually want to put out. Exactly. As well as these titles are doing, it's just a small pittance to Warner Brothers. Executives don't give a hoot. Yeah, which is way more. Way I gotta say, it seems like a censored Michael, as opposed to what I thought you'd say. From instead of give a hoot, things will fall through the cracks. It happens. We're if you've been collecting for any length of time, you know. If you went from VHS to DVD, you know. If you went from Laserdisc to DVD, you know. Whether it's films and commentaries, featurettes, um, licensing happens on all of these things. Most of these features that are done and were done, like the archival things, for instance, aren't done. There's no in perpetuity when it comes to that. We've seen things go from DVD to Blu-ray and lose features on the Blu-ray editions. We are a little speck on the microcosm of what's there. In between titles are precisely the reason Warner Archive is a good idea. Most distributors won't want to license them because there's not enough interest, so the VOD model works best. There is a key component right right there, and that is the smart thing. That is something to highlight right there. And music rights, musicals especially, Scholar. There's something to look into. A musical's music rights on its own. Um, some of it's just going to be hard to do. Blu-ray YouTubes are minuscule in subscribers. The biggest are films at home. Piswell. Are you saying I'm not the biggest? Oh, damn. We'll get there, man. We will get there. Well, even if you have to like team up and start a YouTube Legion of Doom or Super Friends, well, we'll eventually get there. Uh, hey there, Northern Lights. It is going to be. It is hard. It's going to be different. Arena is a distributor willing to pick up the MOD mantle. That's a hard one to do. MOD is something that I think is meant for bigger companies that have the revenue and the source to do something like that. That's the key part for there. I'm not. I wish I was your one stop shop. I'm not, but there's some fantastic YouTubers right on the stream here that they do amazing stuff as well. So we're a collective. We are a collective of underground YouTube people that are what's keeping it real, as the real world would say back in the MTV days when MTV was a thing that had actual shows on it. I gotta watch Leap of Faith. I actually really want to see the documentary. I gotta put more cats in the background type thing. Have cats in my hand when I'm making videos. That'll work. Support our own label. I know there's people out there, Michael Matthew, that I've spoke with that actually have wanted at various times to start a label. Back in the VHS days, uh, I almost did start my own label. Boutique Blu-ray is the future, like Blowfield. Yes, I'm even well, the hair is kind of down there. I kind of like Blowfield already. So so um, boutique labels is the key. This is what it is right now. The world of casual movie shopping and Blu-ray shopping is gone to the DVD bins of the world. So the boutique labels are really what's keeping this going. Film collecting, media cultivating, and just enjoying films in general that you want, that's where it's gone. That's why you see, that's why a release like, let's pick one random here. The William Urbane set, for instance, the Weird in Wisconsin, is an exciting set for a lot of people. And the latest edition of Lord of the Rings, or that's a really one too, but of the latest, of the latest title of Fast Furious or whatever, is going to get a pared down release. Blu-ray.com is not shut down. It's just they've had some issues. Uh, I love Blu-ray.com for like as a review site and as for looking at stuff. They've got some really good stuff there. I think their forum can be a bit toxic at times, so I do try to stay away from that. But I do like their site in general, just not the forum portion of it. Matthew knows all about that. All right, so we've tried out a new format. Before I go, how does everybody like this melon format that we've got on here right now? Because over the next few days, I'm going to have to choose which format to go with. This is melon. What I did previously was Sonny's when they come back up. Wasn't quite sure. Was StreamYard. It is really repetitive. The only thing you can do, Michael, is kind of put your the tickers. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that the first time around. Ticker. I had somebody like get upset with me. Well, I'm not sure if they're upset with me or not, but they said, "Well, Rene Cardona put out 99 films. You can put it. They can get 9 good films out of Rene Cardona." My melons look great. Well, thank you. So it's just that Rene Cardona has put out 99 films, but there's a lot of them that are problematic with animal cruelty and stuff like that. So it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how it goes. Looks a little clear in streaming quality. Actually, it does, I think. So that's unique as well. It could be where I'm gone too, or the lighting. So yeah, this one's a bit cheaper right now. This is normally like the more expensive one, but right now I think it's $15 as opposed to like 25, which the other one was. But there you go. Hopefully we'll soon. To let you guys know, if you are if you're not aware, down below, got to do all this YouTube type stuff that I forgot to do. There's a donation link. If you ever want to donate to the channel, it's there. There's a merchandise link if you ever want to get merchandise from the store. For the people that are on my Patreon one, you got a 10% coupon a few days ago. So that there's the thing. We are doing a Patreon exclusive Jallo Club, and throughout the month of May, we will be doing a lot of Vincent-centric videos. Although Vinegar Syndrome is one of the companies that doesn't give me any notice at all. I still like their stuff. Thank you guys for watching. I have been, as always, blessed and honored to chat with every one of you. It is time to refresh my tea. And I will see you guys again right here soon in the Call to Cinema. Take care, all.